You may think about getting a new car when yours gets close to 100,000 miles, but would you keep it at $1 million? Midstater Selden Cooper says yes. Saturday, he brought his Volvo 240 to Lehman Volvo off the Carlisle Pike for its 200th oil change.
I never contemplated that I would reach 1 million miles on this car. I had previously had a 1975 164E, and when I traded it in, it had almost 250,000 miles on it, which I thought was outstanding. And needless to say, after that experience, I was not going to get anything other than a Volvo. I never, in my furthest imagination, thought that I could get to 1 million miles. It was only when I got to 500,000, there was just this little taste of it. But then when it got to 667, 2/3 the way there, and 750, then I began to think, this might just be doable. Well, there was all the daily driving, and for many years I worked in New Jersey while I was still living in Hershey, and I would make that commute every week. And then later I worked at the House of Representatives in Washington and made that commute from Hershey every day, and that's when it really began to put on miles big time. We went down to western North Carolina quite frequently. The car has been to Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's been several times down to South Florida, where I lived when I was much younger, and we hauled all kinds of dive gear down there in the back of the car. And I've never had any trepidation about taking it on a long trip. It's there. It's there.
It's really been fun to listen to some of the stories that I've heard from so many of you. I want to say that there's either 4 or 5 vehicles here that have over 300,000 miles. In our portfolio of cars with over 250,000 miles, there's about 24 or 25 cars. I really believe that there's not many other brands that could have a little get-together like this, not just to celebrate what we're really here to celebrate, but just that many cars with over 250,000 miles on it. It speaks a lot about the brand, and it speaks a lot about your commitment to the brand. So thanks again for coming out.
I came to Lehman Volvo 17 years ago, and that's when I first met Selden, and at the time the car was an infant. It only had about 300,000 miles on it at that point in time. And we're 17 years later, and we've more than tripled that, and the car's still going strong. And I think Selden has been very fortunate to have had that same engine last as long as it has. We've never had anything more than the valve cover off that engine, which is it's really remarkable. As Selden said earlier, he thinks the car is ready for the second million. He's not too sure that he's gonna be the guy behind the wheel of it, but maybe your son or daughter will be still driving it at some point in time, and we'll be back here in another 25 years for another celebration.
These service people, and I'm sure the salespeople are this way too, I've just never dealt with them. The service people here are superb, and there is no way that that car would be sitting out there were it not for them. And Brian is here, and Brian and John have probably done the lion's share of the work on the car over the years, although other mechanics have chipped in as well. But, you know, I assign so much credit to the longevity of the car to the people here. I plan to hold on to it. It does everything I want. It does it very reliably. It's absolutely my pleasure because, again, this dealership, and I guess over 26 years it makes sense, they've really become like family. And I could not imagine going anywhere else. And I continue to bring it up here when it needs service from Maryland. And I will continue to do that.